Hey everyone, Broadbent here, and today I'm going to show you how to build my updated boar and wolf farm in Valheim. Roughly 6 months ago, IronGate patched the old design, forcing me to redesign it from the ground up. Like the old one, this design is incredibly simple to build and will produce a disgusting amount of boars or wolves for you to slaughter. So why would you want to build this in the first place? Well, raw meat is used in a lot of recipes. The meat that you get from the boars is used to make boar jerky, sausages, and many more recipes. Also, wolf meat is very good to use for wolf jerky. Because of how fast and efficient this design is, you don't even need 2-star animals, but I do recommend at least 1 star to begin with. Before you build this breeder, I recommend you watch the full tutorial to make sure everything will go smoothly on your end. So before we get started, I'm going to cover some details about this farm. The reason this farm is so effective is because it bypasses the game's breeding limit. Valheim only allows boars and wolves to breed if there are 5 or less close by. My design bypasses this cap by dropping the newborns out of that range, keeping the animal count near the breeders at 2. Another huge upside to my design is that it uses a very small amount of feed. This is because the newborns do not have access to the food, keeping all the food for the breeders. So now you know what's up, let's start the guide. Step 1. Preparation. First of all, you will need at least 2 tamed boars or wolves to get started. I recommend breeding them close by until you have a good amount. The resources needed are as follows: 17 wood, 6 core wood. Please note that this is only the cost of the final build. You will need an additional few hundred wood for the temporary structures that we'll be building, but you'll get that back after. Also, don't forget to have some carrots for boars or raw meat for wolves on standby. Other foods will work, but carrots and raw meat are the go-to. To get started, you're going to need a minimum recommended space of 3 by 3 meters. The larger the space on the ground, the more animals you can build up for slaughter. Also, it's extremely important to make sure that this is built in a safe place. Otherwise, a grey dwarf, for example, might be able to destroy the breeder. Step 2. The build. To begin, you should decide the foundation for the construction. Stone foundations will look cool, but you could simply build it directly onto the ground. I personally don't recommend using a wood floor for the foundation. For this tutorial, I'll be building it directly into the ground. Begin by stacking 3 4-meter core wood log poles. Now I know this is high, but just be careful and use ladders and scaffolding to elevate yourself. At the top of the pole, place a 1-meter wooden beam facing where you want the player's platform and portal to be. Now place a 2x2 wood floor on each side of the beam as shown. This will make up the platform for the animals and their food. Place another 2 2x2 wood floors on the end of the 1-meter beam, making a total of a 4x4 meter platform. Once you've done this, you can destroy the 1-meter wooden beam in the middle. Next, place a half wood wall on the top of the pole so that half hangs over the edge. You'll need to make sure that it's snapped to the pole in the middle. Then snap a half wood wall at a 90-degree angle on the end of that half wall. Then do the same again with a third wall to make a U shape. Now mirror this over to the other side and make an M shape and complete the pens. You should now have something that looks like this. Step 3. The ramp. To get the animals up there, we will be building a temporary ramp out of 26-degree thatch roofs. The first step to this is the foundation. Starting from the base of the breeder, build 2 2-meter beams in the direction of the opening of the animal pods. Make sure this snaps to the bottom of the pole. Then build wooden poles at the end of the beams down to the ground for stability. Repeat this 6 more times and you should have something that looks like this. At the end of the foundation, place a 1-meter beam at a 90-degree angle. This will allow you to place the first roof for the ramp. Now the foundation is done, we can begin to make the ramp. Build 2 26-degree roofs on the side of the 1-meter beam you just built. Then add 2-meter poles underneath for stability. Repeat this until you reach the top. If done correctly, there should be a 1-meter gap to the platform, which you will need to fill in with 1 by 1 meter floors. Once you've done all of that, the ramp should look like this. If the base of the ramp doesn't meet the ground, then you probably built this on a hill. You will need to extend the ramp down to the ground. If you're building this for boars, an optional extra is to build round pole fences all the way up both sides of the ramp and at the platform at the top. This will prevent the animals from falling off. Tamed wolves can follow you, so there's no need to do it for them. I personally only build the fences at the top as the boars don't seem to go near the edges of the ramp. Using round pole fences, you'll also want to connect the bottom of the ramp to your animal pen, keeping it sealed for now. Step 4. The animals. This part of the guide will likely be more frustrating as now we're going to be dealing with the AI. So now we're ready to get the boars and wolves into their permanent residence. Once you're done with the fences, I recommend eating some good stamina foods as we'll be running into the boars to push them up the ramp. If you're using wolves, there's no need to do this. Instead, command the wolves to follow you and just walk up the ramp. Once you're ready to begin the push, open the way for the boar and start to push it up to the top and into the pod. This part can be super frustrating at times, so if the boar gets stuck in a corner or something, just wait until it moves on its own. Once the animal is in the pod, you will need to build a full wood wall to block it in. Again, this can be frustrating at times because they always try to walk out at this stage. I don't know why, I guess IronGate just likes to make people's lives living hell. Once the animal is stuck in the pod, you should see it turn to face the full wall. Every now and again, the animal's animation will allow the head to poke through the wall. Now do that all again for the second animal, except this time it goes in the other pod. Congratulations, you just finished making the entire animal farm. Now we just need to tidy up and do some finishing touches. Step 5, the finishing touches. First off, you're going to want to build a portal up here for quick access. Make sure to name it something appropriate and link it to one on the ground. Now you have a way up, you can destroy the ramp and the old pen at the bottom. An easy way to do this is just by undermining the foundations and letting it collapse on its own. Don't forget to make a pen down at the bottom so the newborns cannot escape their fate. Finally, to feed the boars, stand on the platform at the top facing a pen where the full walls are. Align yourself to the middle of the full wall and throw the food down using Ctrl left click. The boars should eat the food through the wall like it's magic. If the animals aren't eating, you will need to pick up the food and throw it again closer to their head. Some final notes are to use the butcher's knife to slaughter the animals. This tool poses no threat to the build as it cannot damage structures. Also, make sure you don't kill any of the younglings, as this will have no yield and just waste the resources. One important thing to note is you should definitely place a workbench down near the breeder. Thrown items on the ground such as your food won't despawn as long as they are in range of a workbench, so make sure to place one of those down at the ground. Otherwise, there's a good chance your food is just going to despawn. And there we have it. There we have the updated and fully working boar and wolf farm in Valheim. That is going to be everything for this tutorial. If you found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like. It really does help support the channel and help others find this video in the future. If you got any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. That's going to be everything. Thank you so much for watching and happy farming.